So I think the idea of Dalit women being in positions of leadership in theory is an appealing idea, but Dalit women exercising their leadership is not particularly palatable to most people.
One Dalit person in a room full of Savarnas, which is what is the case in the judiciary.
You know, how many years and how many people have it taken to bring that one person in the room, right? And I think also this whole idea of the creamy layer, I think there is nothing more threatening to, Brahminical status quo than a Dalit person who's there, who's asking questions, who's thriving, right? I think they're very used to, and they want us to be, beneficiaries or recipients of schemes. They don't want us to be stakeholders, right?
A globe-trotting Dalit feminist. Some would say that you are an elite Dalit, that there's some in the judiciary who would call you creamy layer. Some communists would call you bourgeois,
MacBook loving.
creamy layer, MacBook loving.
And I think that's what it means to be Dalit, and that's what it means to be an Ambedkarite also, right? Being able to own all of those parts of yourself. And I think that is what the struggle and the resistance is all about.
The ever-changing self, to embrace
The
it.
ever-changing self. Yeah, because I feel like Savarnas can be anything that they want to, right? Today they are whatever physiotherapist, tomorrow they're like, oh, I want to go be a pastry chef, and they can be anything they want to. They can be nothing, and it's still valid. And I actively started reading Ambedkar at that time. And I think when you read, it's like a punch to your gut, right? And I think then it also makes you very angry. But I think for the first time, the anger was not at the self. The anger was at the world. Whenever I speak about my work, everybody is very quick to latch on to the communities that we work with. So they're very quick to say, oh, this is work with DNTs, this is work with other tribes, this is work on caste. But what this is work on is Brahminical policing. Like a lot of people, for instance, would want us to do police trainings, police sensitization, and for us to, hold our ground and say, you can't sensitize people out of not being oppressive. And a sensitized oppressor is still an oppressor. When you say, use words like rowdy, badmash, gunda, which are all clear like legacies of the Criminal Tribes Act or these habitual offend, now what are called as habitual offenders laws, one sees that one is speaking about an errant body, which is speaking about a body that is difficult to police but must be subjected to policing. So if you see under the Criminal Tribes Act, the hijras were also criminalized because they said these are people, who are in like they're deviant sexualities. So these are deviants. So when you use the term deviant and you say X person or X group is a deviant, then the corollary to that is, so what is the norm? Because policing is really the only institution in this country that has not undergone any reform. I mean, there have been these national police commissions that have been set up. Ex-IPS officers have gone to court. 2006, there was the Prakash Singh judgment, which said, you set up a police complaints authority, so on and so forth. None of, even lip service has not been paid.